There are moments when life feels heavy, moments when your heart is tired, your mind is restless, and your spirit feels buried under the weight of fear, doubt, and pain. But listen carefully. What if I told you that change is closer than you think? What if I told you that within 3 days, something inside you can shift forever? Not because the world changes first, but because you do. There are moments in life when something deep inside you begins to stir a quiet sense that something is about to change. You may not understand it, you may not even believe it at first, but it feels real, like a whisper echoing through your soul, telling you that what you're going through right now is not the end of your story. Sometimes that message doesn't come as comfort, it comes as a warning that you cannot keep living the same way, a warning that holding on to fear, doubt, and negativity will only lead you deeper into darkness, a warning that time is moving and something within you must shift. But hidden inside that warning is also a promise that your pain is not meaningless, a promise that your struggles are not wasted, a promise that even in your lowest moment, there is something greater at work. You see, when everything feels uncertain, when your heart feels heavy, when your thoughts are filled with negativity, that is often the very moment before a breakthrough begins. But the truth is, most people miss it. They ignore the warning, they silence the voice, they choose comfort over change, and slowly they remain stuck in the same patterns, stuck in the same fears, stuck in the same emotional prison they've been trying to escape. But you feel something different right now. There's a tension inside you, a struggle, a battle between who you've been and who you're meant to become. And that battle is not ikrat, it is intentional, because before transformation comes awareness, before change comes a moment where everything inside you says, this cannot continue. That is the warning, not to destroy you, but to wake you up. And the promise is that if you listen, if you truly listen, and you respond with courage, everything can begin to change. Not all at once, not magically, but powerfully, because the moment you recognize that something must shift, you've already taken the first step toward freedom. You begin to see your negative thoughts for what they really are, temporary, not permanent. You begin to realize that your fear is not truth, it's just a voice. And you begin to understand that you are not powerless. You've just been unaware of your own strength. There is something sacred about that moment. It's the moment where everything could go one of two ways. You can turn away and continue carrying the same weight, or you can lean in and prepare yourself for what's coming next. Because when a warning meets a willing heart, it turns into transformation. And when a promise meets belief, it becomes reality. So if you feel that stirring, that discomfort, that quiet voice telling you something must change, don't ignore it. That's not weakness. That's not confusion. That's the beginning of something new. And if you hold on to it, if you trust it, if you act on it, you may just discover that what felt like a warning was actually the first sign that your life is about to change forever. There is a battle happening inside you even now. No one else can see it. No one else can hear it. But you feel it. It's in the quiet moments when you're alone with your thoughts. It's in the nights when sleep doesn't come easy, because your mind won't stop speaking. It's in the heaviness in your chest, the weight you carry that you can't always explain. This is the battle within. And the hardest part about it is this: you are both the battlefield and the one fighting on it. One voice tells you to keep going. Another tells you to give up. One part of you believes in hope, another is drowning in fear, and sometimes the negative voice feels louder. It reminds you of your failures. It replays your mistakes. It magnifies your insecurities until they feel bigger than your future. You're not strong enough. You'll never change. You've already lost too much. And slowly, without even realizing it, you begin to believe it. That's how the battle works. It doesn't break you all at once. It wears you down piece by piece, a little doubt today, a little fear tomorrow, a little more silence the next day, until one day you don't even recognize yourself anymore. You're physically present but emotionally drained. You're alive, but not truly living. But here's the truth that changes everything. Just because the battle is within you doesn't mean you are meant to lose it. Those negative feelings, they may feel powerful, but they are not in control unless you surrender to them. Fear speaks, but it does not decide. Doubt whispers, but it does not define. You have more authority over your inner world than you think. But to take it back, you must first become aware of what's happening. You must see the battle clearly. You must recognize when your thoughts are pulling you down instead of lifting you up. You must catch the lies before they take root in your heart. Because not every thought you have is truth. Some thoughts are born from pain. Some are shaped by past wounds. Some are echoes of things people once said that were never meant to define you, and yet you carry them like they are facts. This is where the shift begins. The moment you stop blindly believing every negative thought and start questioning it. Is this really true? Or is this fear speaking? Is this helping me or destroying me? That moment is powerful. Because the battle within is not won by force. It is won by awareness, by courage, and by choice. The choice to not let negativity rule your mind. The choice to not let fear control your actions. The choice to stand, even when everything inside you feels weak. It won't be easy. There will be days when the negative voice comes back stronger. Days when the weight feels heavier than before. But every time you resist, every time you refuse to give in, you grow stronger. And slowly the balance begins to shift. The voice of fear becomes quieter. The voice of strength becomes clearer. And you start to realize the battle was never about destroying you. It was about revealing how strong you truly are. So don't run from it, face it. Because on the other side of this inner battle is a version of you that is no longer controlled by fear, but led by strength. There comes a moment in your life when you are standing at a crossroads, not physically, but internally. Nothing around you may have changed, yet everything inside you feels uncertain. Your heart is pulled in one direction, your fear pulls you in another. And in that moment, you are forced to choose, not between easy and hard, but between faith and fear Fear is loud. It rushes into your mind without invitation. It shows you everything that could go wrong. It paints pictures of failure, rejection, and loss. It tells you, don't try, you'll only fall. It tells you, stay where you are. At least it's safe. It tells you, you're not ready, you'll never be ready. And the hardest part is, fear sounds convincing. Because it speaks through your past. It uses your wounds as evidence. It reminds you of every time things didn't work out. So you hesitate, you overthink, you begin to shrink back from opportunities, from growth, from change. But then there is another voice, quieter, gentler, almost easy to ignore if you're not paying attention. It doesn't shout like fear. It doesn't pressure you. It simply whispers, try, keep going, there is more ahead of you. That is faith. Faith doesn't mean you have all the answers. It doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means you choose to move forward even when fear is still present. Because the truth is, courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that something else matters more than fear. And that decision changes everything. When you choose fear, you stay stuck. You stay in the same place with the same struggles, the same pain. Nothing grows, nothing shifts. But when you choose faith, even in the smallest way, something begins to move. You take one step, then another, and slowly the impossible begins to feel possible. Not because the path is suddenly clear, but because you've stopped letting fear control your direction. You begin to trust, not in perfection, but in progress. You start to believe that even if you fall, you can rise again. That even if things don't go as planned, it's not the end. And something inside you starts to awaken. Strength you didn't know you had. Hope you thought was gone. A quiet confidence that says, I will make it through. But understand this, faith is not a one-time choice. It's a daily decision. Every morning you will wake up with the same two voices. Fear will still be there. Doubt will still try to speak, but so will faith, and every day you must choose which one you will follow. Some days it will be harder than others. Some days fear will feel overwhelming, but even on those days you can still choose one small act of faith. One step forward, one positive thought, one moment of refusing to give up, and over time those small choices become a new path. A path where fear no longer controls you. A path where you are no longer paralyzed by what if. Instead, you begin to live in what can be. So when you feel afraid, don't wait for the fear to disappear. It may not, but you don't need it to. All you need is the courage to choose faith anyway. Because the moment you do, you take back your power. And once you start walking in faith, fear loses its grip on your life. There are things you've been carrying for far too long. Not in your hands, but in your heart. Not on your shoulders, but in your spirit. Invisible chains, chains made of regret. Chains made of past mistakes. Chains formed by words that were spoken to you or about you that you never forgot. And over time you learned how to live with them. You smiled on the outside, but inside something felt heavy. You kept moving forward, but a part of you always felt held back, because no matter how far you tried to go, those chains moved with you. Regret keeps whispering, if only you had done things differently. A pain reminds you, you were hurt, and it changed you. Doubt tells you, you're still that same person, you haven't really changed. And without realizing it, you start to believe that this weight is just part of who you are. That this is your identity, that this is your limit, but it's not. You were never meant to live bound by your past. You were never meant to define your future by your lowest moments. Those chains, they may feel strong, but they are not unbreakable. The hardest part is this: no one else can break them for you. People can support you. They can encourage you. They can stand beside you. But the decision to let go that belongs to you, and letting go is not easy, because sometimes your pain becomes familiar. Your past becomes a place you return to, even when it hurts. Not because you want to suffer, but because it's what you know. Letting go feels like stepping into the unknown. It feels like releasing something that, in a strange way, became part of your story, part of your identity. But listen carefully, holding on is costing you more than letting go ever will. Every moment you hold on to regret, you lose a piece of your present. Every time you replay the pain, you give it power over your future. And the truth is, you cannot move forward while gripping what's behind you. At some point, you have to make a choice to keep carrying it or to finally put it down, and that moment is not loud or dramatic. It's quiet. It's a decision made deep within you, where you say enough. Enough of letting my past control me. Enough of believing I'm still the person I used to be. Enough of carrying pain that no longer serves me. And then you begin the process, not of forgetting, but of releasing. You forgive, not because what happened was okay, but because you refuse to let it poison your future. You accept not because it was fair, but because it no longer has the power to define you. You let go, not because it's easy, but because you're ready to be free. And slowly those chains begin to loosen, the weight starts to lift, your steps feel lighter, your heart feels clearer. You begin to realize something powerful. You are not your mistakes. You are not your pain. You are not the worst thing that ever happened to you. You are what you choose to become from this moment forward. So break the chains, not all at once, but one link at a time. Every time you choose growth over regret, a chain breaks. Every time you choose peace over bitterness, a chain breaks. Every time you choose to believe in yourself again, a chain breaks. Until one day you look back and realize you're no longer bound. You're free. There is a moment in every journey when everything begins to shift. Not loudly, not all at once, but deeply. It doesn't always look like a breakthrough from the outside. There are no fireworks, no sudden miracles that everyone can see. But inside you something changes. This is the turning point. It comes after the struggle, after the nights you questioned everything, after the moments you felt like giving up but didn't. It comes quietly, almost unexpectedly. One day you wake up and the weight doesn't feel as heavy. The thoughts that once controlled you don't have the same power anymore. The pain is still there, but it no longer defines you. And you realize something is different. You're different. This moment is powerful because it marks the beginning of a new direction. For so long you were reacting to life, reacting to fear, reacting to negativity, reacting to everything that tried to pull you down. But now you start choosing how you think, choosing how you respond, choosing who you are becoming. That shift from reaction to intention is where everything begins to change. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances and start seeing yourself as someone who has power within them. And it doesn't mean everything is perfect. There will still be challenges. There will still be moments where doubt tries to come back. But now you don't face them the same way. Before you felt overwhelmed. Now you feel aware. Before you felt controlled. Now you feel capable. Before you felt stuck. Now you feel movement even if it's slow. That's how transformation begins, not with perfection, but with a shift in direction. And sometimes the turning point is as simple as a decision. A decision that says, I'm not going back to who I used to be. A decision that says, I may not have everything figured out, but I refuse to stay where I am. A decision that says, no more excuses, no more waiting. This is where it changes. That decision carries power, because once you truly decide, something inside you aligns with that choice. Your thoughts begin to change. Your actions begin to follow. Your habits begin to shift. And slowly your life begins to reflect that inner decision. But here's the truth. The turning point is not the end of the journey. It's the beginning of a new one. It's the moment you step out of the old version of yourself and start walking toward the person you are meant to become. There will still be days of doubt. There will still be moments of weakness. But the difference is you won't stay there. Because now you've seen what's possible. You've felt the shift. You've tasted the strength within you. And once you experience that, you can't go back to living the same way. So if you feel that moment right now, that quiet shift, that inner change, don't ignore it. Lean into it, because this is where your story begins to turn. Not because everything around you suddenly changed, but because you did. And when you change, everything else begins to follow. There comes a moment after the struggle, after the battle within, after the breaking and the rebuilding, when you begin to feel something you haven't felt in a long time. Not just relief, but renewal. It doesn't arrive all at once. It comes gently, like the first light after a long, dark night. At first, you barely notice it. A calmer mind, a lighter heart, a sense that maybe, just maybe, things are going to be okay. And then it grows. You start to think differently. The thoughts that once dragged you down no longer feel as powerful. The negativity that once filled your mind begins to lose its place. You're not forcing it. It's just happening. Because something inside you has changed. This is transformation. Not the kind that the world always sees, but the kind that reshapes you from within. You begin to understand yourself in a deeper way. You see your past, but you're no longer trapped in it. You feel your emotions, but they no longer control you. There is a new strength rising inside you, a quiet strength. Not loud, not arrogant, but steady. The kind of strength that doesn't need to prove anything to anyone because it already knows what it has survived. And with that strength comes clarity. You begin to see what truly matters. You begin to let go of things that once felt important, but were only holding you back. The need for approval, the fear of failure, the weight of expectations that were never truly yours, all of it starts to fall away, and in its place something new begins to grow. Purpose. Not a loud, overwhelming purpose that demands you to have everything figured out, but a quiet sense of direction, a feeling that your life has meaning, that everything you went through, the pain, the struggle, the confusion, it wasn't wasted. It shaped you, it refined you, it prepared you, and now you're stepping into something new. You're no longer the person who was controlled by negative feelings. You're no longer the person who doubted every step. You're becoming someone who understands their worth, someone who can stand in the middle of uncertainty and still move forward. That doesn't mean life will never challenge you again. It will. There will still be hard days. There will still be moments where you feel tested. But now you are different. You don't break the same way. You don't fall as deeply. You don't stay down as long, because you've learned something powerful. You've learned how to rise. And once you learn that nothing can truly keep you down, this is what renewal feels like. It's not about becoming a completely different person. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be, without the weight that once held you back. It's about waking up and feeling a sense of peace you thought you lost. It's about looking at your life and realizing you made it through. And more than that, you grew through it. So embrace this transformation. Don't rush it. Don't doubt it. Let it unfold, because the person you are becoming is stronger than your past, clearer than your fears, and ready for what lies ahead. And this time, you're not just surviving. You're truly living.